The UN Sudan envoy says the country's warring generals have agreed to send representatives to talks, possibly in Saudi Arabia. Volker Perthes was speaking to the Associated Press, but he also warned there are challenges to overcome before any negotiations can begin. Well, the fighting between Sudan's army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces has now gone on for more than 3 weeks. Monday was another day of airstrikes and explosions despite a shaky ceasefire. The UN's warning the humanitarian crisis in the country is turning into a full-blown catastrophe. Hiba Morgan reports from Khartoum.
Sudanese army fighter jets flying over Bahri and East Nile in Sudan's capital Khartoum, targeting positions of the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces. Residents of Bahri in the northern part of the capital say a fuel tanker belonging to the Rapid Support Forces was hit, leaving plumes of dark smoke as heavy gun battle between the two sides raged on for a third week. Other parts of the capital also witnessed intense fighting between the two sides. Hiba is too frightened to leave her apartment in Khartoum.
We hear the sounds of artillery falling in the street. We are traumatized. Every time we hear the fighting, we feel like we will die.
The family is running out of basic supplies.
The Rapid Support Forces are stationed in front of our home, and they won't allow us to fix the electricity pole. There is no electricity and no water.
The UN says the scale and speed of what's unfolding is unprecedented in Sudan. It also says the humanitarian crisis is at a breaking point. The head of the army, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, has agreed to extend a faltering ceasefire, allowing civilians to leave and aid to be delivered. The paramilitary group, the Rapid Support Forces, have also agreed to the temporary truce. But on the ground, fighting continues, including in Khartoum and its twin city, Omdurman. Local communities in Khartoum warned people to stay at home amidst airstrikes and artillery fire. Millions still remain in the capital, taking opportunities of brief lulls to go and get basic necessities where possible. Those who can make their way out of the capital have already left. Evacuees in Port Sudan say they feel a sense of shock at the sudden spiral into civil war. Many have lived and worked in Sudan for decades.
Sudan is living through a moment of real terror. I'm talking about dead bodies on the streets. We smelled the dead bodies as we were coming to Khartoum. The firing, the shelling, Sudan is seriously in a state of real war.
We hope God brings peace to everyone in Sudan. We are Sudanese people residing in the US. People should not think that Sudan has been destroyed. No, things have happened, but we wish to stay strong.
This group of Somalis arrived in Mogadishu from Port Sudan.
I am pleased that I have finally arrived in my country. However, what we have been through is unusual and hard to describe, but I am grateful for the opportunity to survive.
But for millions of Sudanese, there is nowhere to go. They're trapped by fighting in a country the UN says is falling apart. Hiba Morgan, Al Jazeera, Khartoum.
In Chad, more than 20,000 people have already crossed the border to seek refuge. They're making the dangerous journey from Sudan on donkeys and by foot. The conflict is also affecting the residents of Chad, with the flow of goods being disrupted, causing food prices to rise. Ahmed Idris reports from Tandalti, West Darfur, on the Sudanese side of the border with Chad.
Right behind me is the local police station here in Tandalti. It is deserted, completely deserted, and the lock and key, and it looks like they hurriedly left this place when fighting broke out in Sudan. Over here is a signboard announcing the presence of the police station. It's constructed by the United Nations mission in Darfur and implemented by the Islamic Relief Agency. Many of the residents who fled this town of Tandalti after violence broke out, we understand that a lot of houses have been burned down. Our security forces took to their heels and crossed over along with civilians. Over there is the riverbed, the dry riverbed, which is a crossing point for people who live in this town and now found themselves inside Chad. Now, a lot of people are moving away from this area simply because they feel that it's no longer safe to be here. Now, over there also is the town's courthouse. It's also under lock and key, like many other government establishments here in Tendalti, simply because people don't believe they are safe in this community. If you look at the streets, everything everywhere is empty, except for occasional people, 1 or 2 people who come and check on their belongings, their houses, take a bath probably, and then flee across the dry riverbed into Chad. Despite the hardship, they prefer living in open spaces, exposed to the elements, and of course, despite the fact that they don't have enough to eat in those camps. Ahmed Idris, Al Jazeera from Tendalti inside Darfur, West Darfur region of Sudan.